Hello and welcome back to another episode of Purpose Through Fitness, a community of people looking to make a positive change in their life and not knowing where to start. It is my goal to encourage you to be the best version of yourself, live purposefully, and be grateful for all the blessings in your life. Each week that I sit down to do these episodes, I continue to find myself humbled and truly blessed to be doing what I do, and I hope that you too can get something from this and make that positive change in your life today. Now, today I want to talk to you about judgment and confidence and the things you may experience as you begin to start living a more purposeful life. But first, today we're going to talk about the BAR from Redcon 1. If you're anything like me, the sweet cravings can get really intense at times and they can force you into making wrong food choices. Enter the BAR, or better known as the Breakfast at the Ready bar. This unique protein bar is like having a bowl of your favorite kids' cereal and milk in an easy and convenient bar format. No spilling, no mess, just amazing taste and texture that brings you back to sitting in front of the TV watching Saturday morning cartoons. With its 20 grams of whey isolate and whey concentrate blend, this gluten-free cereal bar is ideal for a quick on-the-go breakfast or a tasty guilt-free snack. My personal favorite is the Choco Crisp with the new Apple Blast bar right behind it. I always keep one of these handy for when my cravings strike. Head over to redcon1.com and use code T20KevinFed for 20% off your order. Again, that's T20KevinFed for 20% off your entire order. Redcon 1, the highest state of readiness. Hello, my friends. I hope you're having an amazing, beautiful, and blessed day. Really excited for today's episode, and I think it's extremely important for those of you out there looking to make that positive change, but noticing fear of others' judgments or some own personal confidence or lack of confidence in yourself. Now, during this transition, you may notice a heightened sense of observation. Now, during this observation, you're going to be confronted by voices and judgment of others. But I'm here to tell you that most of what you're hearing is actually in your head. A constant battle for me when I was trying to turn my life around was the constant feeling that people were judging me. All I needed was that brief moment of eye contact, and in my head, I would cycle through all the things I believed the other person was thinking. Oh, he's ugly. Look at his clothes. Look how weird he walks. Anything you could possibly imagine, any of my own self-doubts and insecurities, I instantly put in their head and thought they were cycling through that over and over and over and over. Now, if I was in public and I saw someone laughing in my direction, I thought they were laughing at me. If I saw someone roll their eyes, I thought it was something I did wrong. Little did I know at this time that it was actually my own insecurities echoing and not that of others. This is known as the spotlight effect. Now, the spotlight effect is the phenomenon in which people tend to believe they are being noticed more than they really are. Being that one is constantly in the center of one's own world, an accurate evaluation of how much one is noticed by others is uncommon. The reason behind the spotlight effect comes from the innate tendency to forget that although one is the center of one's own world, one is not the center of everyone else's. Now, this was interesting because I did not even know this had a scientific term or studies behind it. This was something that I noticed with a couple of my friends in observation. I could tell they were fearing other people's judgments or afraid to say something or afraid to wear a certain piece of clothing because they thought other people were judging them. And I wanted them to realize that it's not them judging you, and chances are whatever thought is in that other person's head could be completely random. See, what we tend to do is, whether it's conscious or not, is we tend to feel we are the center of the universe in our own world as well as everyone else's world. And this is never the case. Now, what can you do in particular to help with this? Because it's very difficult, especially if you've spent most of your life in a lack of confidence. You may tend to avoid a lot of situations because of this, whether it be social situations, group situations, whatever it may be. You may tend to avoid it because you're afraid of what other people's opinions may be. So I got a couple things that really helped me in this transition that I'd like for you to give a try. The first one, how often do your judgments of others stick with you? This was one of the most powerful things that I found very beneficial for me on a daily basis. I would make a conscious effort that when I was out to identify when or those moments when I myself may have judged someone. Let's say I saw a guy or a girl wearing clothing that I thought was inappropriate or disgusting, or maybe had a message on it that I disagreed with. In the back of my head, I would say, okay, this is one of those moments. Look what you're saying about the person, and then just focus on that thought. Within a few minutes, on almost 100% of these cases, I would even completely forget about that thought or that judgment of that other person. And then at the end of the day, I would cycle back through all those moments I had. And the more I did this, I started realizing, that moment of judgment that I had on someone else lasted maybe 2 or 3 seconds, and then that memory was gone for good. In fact, if that same person was standing in a lineup of 20 other people, I don't think I'd be able to pick them out of a lineup. So again, on nearly 100% of the time, as I'm recalling, most of the details of that person I didn't even remember. So the more I practiced this, the more it helped me understand that, maybe others really don't focus on me as much as I thought. This made it a lot easier to go about your daily tasks, because now when I made eye contact with someone, the immediate thought wasn't, oh God, they're judging me. What are they saying? What are they doing? The thought was just whatever thought I might have in my head. Another thing I found to be very powerful, or the second step for me, was focusing on my breathing. Whenever I was in a situation where I felt uncomfortable or felt others judging me, I would make it a conscious effort to focus on my breath. I would notice that when I did get in these situations, my breath started to become a lot shorter and quicker. If I focused on it for a few moments and allowed myself to breathe in and breathe out at a slow, consistent manner, that most of my anxiety would just completely disappear. The third thing I want you to try, stop reading other people's minds. Think about it yourself. How often are you looking at something, maybe in the direction of someone, but you're just blankly staring and maybe thinking, did I turn the crock pot off? This happens a lot. Yet if we're on the other end, or the receiving end of the person that may be staring off, wondering if they shut off the crock pot, we tend to jump to the thought that they're thinking about us. They're staring at us. They're judging us. Stop putting thoughts in other people's heads and believing you know what they're thinking. Because that person that you think is thinking about you may actually be thinking that you are judging them. So you really need to focus on the fact that as important as you are to yourself, you're not that important to someone else. You need to understand that we all have a lot of positive and negative in our lives. We are all going about our daily processes, trying to get through this thing called life. If you are spending time judging others, if you are cycling through your head all these negative things about people that you see, that just means at the end of the day, when you get home, you're going to be miserable with yourself. It's always those who judge the most that have the most insecurities. One of my favorite quotes in relation to this is from Olin Miller, who once said, "You probably wouldn't worry about what people think of you if you could only know how seldom they do." And it's so true. As I said, as you practice these things, as you practice the 3 steps here, 1, focus on your own thoughts when you have judgment. How long does that stick with you? 2, your breathing. Make sure you're being conscious of your breathing when you get in these situations of anxiety. And number 3, stop reading minds. When you can execute these 3 steps on a consistent basis, a lot of that anxiety is going to go away. You're going to start to receive a lot more self-confidence back because you're going to realize and understand that people aren't judging you as much as you think they are. People tend to think others are judging so much about them because they may have their own insecurities. Well, start working on what you can do to improve your own insecurities and forget about other people, because we all have our own problems to worry about. You know, I found the more that I was depressed and the more I felt the world was against me, the more I thought others were thinking about me and judging me. It took a long, long time for it to pass, but I can now go about my daily routines without the fear of others, because you know what? Life is so hard and difficult for every single one of us. It's not worth wasting our time worrying about the judgment of others. Let them be miserable. You choose happiness. You know, as always, I like to end each and every one of my episodes with a verse from the Bible that I do find applicable with today's lesson. And today it comes from James chapter 4, verses 11 and 12. Brothers and sisters, do not slander one another. Anyone who speaks against a brother or sister or judges them speaks against the law and judges it. When you judge the law, you are not keeping it, but sitting in judgment on it. There is only one lawgiver and judge, the one who is able to save and destroy. But you? Who are you to judge your neighbor? I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me today. I continue to receive amazing feedback from you and am beyond blessed to have the ability to do the research and bring these episodes to you. I really hope that you can take something away from today's episode and practice it in your own life. Remember that you are amazing, you are beautiful, you are strong, you are powerful, and you are blessed. I really hope you have a beautiful, happy, safe, and healthy week ahead of you. I love each and every one of you and hope you too can begin to make that positive change in your life and begin to live purposefully. God bless.